Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast for April 8th, 2020. I am your host, TJ Hafer, and with me, as always, are our panel, including Rose.
Hello.
Including Lambert.
Hello there.
And including Father Loris.
Hello. Hi.
We're all four back for, I think, the first time in like a month, so...
Yeah, I think so. We just have to rotate out.
Yeah.
You got stuck in a black hole.
Right. Yeah, it was not easy to get out. I didn't really tell the story last time, but there was sometimes you have to get external equipment involved. It's it's a whole big thing.
Yeah. TJ's entirely just Hawking's radiation now.
Yes, exactly. I am made entirely of Hawking radiation. Yeah. It was the only way.
Did you find DJ while you were there?
Yes, there was also like a weird floating library thing. There's lots of books.
Don't get me started on that bloody movie.
What's in the middle of a black hole? Well, I guess we just got to make some shit up, huh? Okay.
Magic. Clearly.
Yes. Yeah, well, we have some pretty hefty dev diaries today to keep you guys busy during these times of plague and quarantine. Starting off with CK3, where we finally got an in-depth look at the Custom Faiths and Pagan Reformation system, which has been teased heavily before. This is the first time we've ever actually got to see kind of under the hood with it. What do you guys like? What do you guys feel about what we've seen so far?
I think it's a fantastic new system. It's taken all like the lovely things that were in the final expansion of Unholy Fury, essentially, and just expanded on it and made it a bit more in depth and a little bit more roleplay too.
Yeah, I feel like probably some of the Holy Fury stuff was like they were already working on CK3 and they decided to see if they could implement some of it in CK2.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yep, it definitely feels like, especially the fact that we have 3 tenants here, and that's essentially what Holy Fury added to Reforming Religions was 3 tenants.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've got tenets and doctrines, which they kind of went over in the last dev diary, but obviously we'll be able to modify pretty much all of these, and then the piety cost is kind of based on how far you're departing from your starting religion. So if you want to make something crazy, you want to try to find something sort of similar to convert to first, and then you can kind of modify it from there.
I don't know what group you were part of, but I think the group I was part of at PDXCon, we asked about that, and we were told at the time that you probably want to try changing a religion slowly. Change a little bit like each generation or something, as you would have less of a fight on your hands.
Yeah, I mean, It seems like you'll have to, but that also seems like you're just going to leave like a trail of slightly different heresies in your wake.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to actually create a new religion to change the doctrines. You can't just be like, okay, we're modifying Catholic and this is the new Catholic. So like, if one generation you change the marriage laws and one of the tenets, that's a new faith. And then the next generation you change, your clerical traditions, and then a different tenet, that's also now a new faith. So I could see how ripping the Band-Aid off, if you have the piety for it, might be better, even though people are going to get really mad with you in the short term. It'll be better than having like 5 different, slightly different sects that are all operating within your borders at the same time.
You don't just want the piety, though. You want to make sure you have a large enough army.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Of course. And it's interesting that they're showing here, this is something you don't see in CK2, is it tells you how many people will be converting with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it's going to be a lot easier to convert a smaller nation, which I guess makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that seems fair to me. But they've also shown us that there is going to be a distinction, like there was in CK2, between unreformed pagan faiths and organized religions, basically. So it's easier to convert out of an unreformed faith, and they have kind of slightly different rules than the reformed ones do. I'll be curious to see if playing a complete game without ever reforming is more possible, or if it's more of a pain in the ass than it was in CK2. Because I did try to do it in CK2, and it doesn't tend to go that well.
It eventually starts to die out. You just can't keep it strong. Which I believe was kind of the point, such as what we're seeing with EU4 with the changes so that mercenaries become less and less useful as time goes on with 1.3 is what they're trying to do.
Right.
Here, if your religion isn't organized, it's going to struggle to survive, just like they did historically.
Yeah, eventually, if you don't convert, some duke underneath you will, and then he'll get the backing of, the church, and then, you're probably not going to be king for very much longer.
Sad times.
You have a kingdom riddled with missionaries, just constantly.
So, what kind of religions do you guys think you're going to make first, using this new system?
Reformed Norse.
Well, yeah, obvious. That's the obvious one.
You know what I'm actually excited about is reforming the Bon religion, which I know you can do that now. In CK2, they finally added that. But originally you couldn't. You talked about playing a pagan religion the whole way through that wasn't reformed. I did that with Bon and Tibet starting in 867. Oh my god, the number of people that ended up in my dungeon from trying to convert me. Apparently, chat is of the opinion that they're all going to make a sex cult.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if you have a lot of people in your dungeon, surely that is the way to go.
Reformed Norse paganism, sex cult, why not both, is what I say. Just elevate Freyr and Freya to be the primary deities, and there you go.
I'm going to not directly interact with this because I quite enjoy playing as the big guys bullying the heretics. But I quite like the idea of playing as like a Catholic and seeing these strange, weird heresies pop up everywhere. And I also quite like the idea of smiting them.
Yeah, well, another thing I definitely want to do, because they did confirm that there are Gnostic Christian heresies that exist in the game. I'll definitely do a playthrough where I try to adopt Gnosticism and make what my version of medieval Christianity, would be. It's probably going to involve slightly more esotericism than historically, but I think that's going to be a lot of fun too.
Loris, your Welsh expertise is being asked about in chat.
Oh,
if you start in Wales and convert your religion to only eating sheep, does that still count as cannibalism?
Well, yes. I mean, it's all related somehow, I guess.
Pretty sure the sheep aren't something to do with food. It's more of the consanguinity issue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
I just wonder how it works into the marriage system.
Yeah.
Consorts, at least.
Well, they've got the options we see are close kin, taboo, cousin marriage, avunculate marriage, which is you're allowed to marry your uncles and aunts, and then unrestricted, which is anybody. But I don't see anything about livestock in here, so I feel like I'm missing.
It's clearly just below it.
Someone will mod that in, for sure.
Yeah.
It's locked to only if you're playing a Welsh character. Is there anything you dislike?
Because
that's one thing for me. I'm always the person that brings up one thing I dislike in these.
Nothing pops out for me, I have to say.
Yeah, what are you skeptical about, Lambert?
When you create a heresy, the head of your faith is imported from your previous faith. So if you create a heresy of Catholicism, the head of your faith is going to be called the Pope.
Pope Martin Luther King.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
I know
seems
you
like
can't-
it shouldn't
Yeah.
quite be.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can name the adherents, so you can call them Protestants, you can call them Lutherans or whatever. But the head of the faith, I think that is another thing that you should be able to name.
Yeah.
Or choose
Or-
to not have a head of your faith.
Or that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Because
I mean,
But I
that's
think
that's
what we
quite
have in
core to
CK2.
Protestantism.
Is when you reform
Oh.
like a pagan religion, you can totally say, "Oh yeah, nope, we're not having a head to our faith."
Yeah, yeah. So all reformed have heads of faith then? Is that a thing?
Well, we know that there's like temporal and spiritual. I don't know if there's going to be an option for just no head of faith. I hope
Yeah.
there is.
I hope so.
Because like my vision of like a properly reformed Norse paganism would not have a head of faith, because that kind of goes against a lot of the core ideals that I see as being essential to that religion.
Yeah, so it's
so-
like Buddhism. There's 3 types of Buddhism now, which is fantastic, right? Brilliant. But Buddhism doesn't make much sense having a head of state, head
No.
of religion. Hinduism definitely doesn't.
Right. Yeah. The Eastern religions, which I think they said that they're also going to have slightly different rules, similar to how they do in CK2, where they don't consider other faiths to be hostile. We haven't gotten like a dev diary on this yet, so I'm not sure what the difference is between when your faith considers another faith to be hostile and when it considers it to be evil, which we see in one of the tooltips.
Maybe evil allows you to call crusades on them and such.
That
But
would make
hostile-
Very
sense.
But hostile, it's just a regular casus belli, perhaps.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's like Catholics consider Orthodox to be hostile, but they'd consider like Cathars to be evil,
Or
and how
Muslims
those
to be
relationships
evil.
can change. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then because, there's the Cathar Crusades and, of course, the classic Crusades.
Right.
So that makes sense, right?
Right.
we also have some tenets here that they gave us to look at.
Yeah, we have the 3 genders, war, peace, and what the fuck.
Hey, I mean, notice where divine marriage is. Though honestly,
Oh, yes.
the WTF side looks more like marriage and fertility. They just apparently are
Yeah.
afraid to type it out.
Yeah.
Gets highlighted by YouTube.
Well, this I don't know how you would pronounce this. Kudikis let me. Someone in the chat who knows Livonian, let us know. But yeah, I like that they have kind of some historical. It looks like some historical specific tenets for different pagan religions, because this one is specifically for the Baltic pagans, which they're now calling Vitalists. Where they're less likely to die in childbirth and less likely to have sickly or stillborn children. I'm wondering if that's going to be more common in CK3, because I felt like it was far too rare in CK2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
For the time
miscarriage and
period where, like-
stillbirths were like almost unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And women
Right.
dying in childbirth, too. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, like
Ridiculous.
the chances that the mother would survive and the child would survive, until the child reached the age of 10 was like 50-50 or something like that, which
That's
I
crazy.
understand could be a little bit too frustrating in a game like Crusader Kings, but it seemed like it was way too rare in CK2.
yeah.
But then also in Crusader Kings, they did things where I think it was after 5 or 6 kids, your chance of having more was drastically dropped. While in real life, quite often queens and other noblewomen would have 14, 15, 16 kids.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
didn't know
but
how
only,
many
like,
of them were
3
going
of
to
them would live.
survive. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's the same for the peasants as well. It's like, we need kids to help us on the farm, so you better keep pumping them out, because some of them are not going to survive and I still need the help.
Also, long winter nights, they didn't really have much else to do.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I
but
mean,
also, they
yeah.
had very close quarters in their housing, too. So
Right.
you have to mix one with the other.
Yeah.
But it was kept warm by the sheep in the bed.
Yeah, it's true. That's
Only
true.
in Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And New Zealand. At a later date,
Yes.
I guess. New Zealand's like a better Wales, isn't it? It's just got bigger mountains,
No,
sexier sheep.
it's a worse Scotland.
Yeah, what New Caledonia wasn't that like one of the names of New Zealand at one point.
Yeah, no, I think New
Or
Caledonia
there's
is a southern bit, isn't it? New Caledonia, I believe.
There is an island still to this day that is called New Caledonia, but
It's
I don't
typical
remember.
of the Scots, though, isn't it? Like Scot Presbyterians, they go to New Zealand. There's beautiful tropical islands, and we're like, no, we don't want to go. I'm not doing a Scottish accent. No, don't want to go to this beautiful go south. We'll go south, and we go south, and it's like more tropical islands and more beautiful sun and mountains. No, further south, and we arrive in New Caledonia, where it's miserable. It rains all the time. It's freezing cold, and that's where they settle.
So Rose, you're highlighting that Christian syncretism doctrine,
Yep,
which is pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yep, and it does show us about the hostile instead of evil. Which
Right,
gives us a little more
right.
hints.
Yeah, so you can create a religion that is like, okay, like we're this new thing. We're not Christian, but we still kind of get along with Christians, which is kind of cool. I'm assuming there will be similar ones for, Muslims and pagans and things like that.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, up here we do have dharmic pacifism, which you
Right.
cannot declare holy wars.
See, I
Yeah.
won't be using it then.
So everybody just is setting that one aside. Yeah. You do get +1 domain limit though. So
Yeah, but how am I going to fill that domain limit if I can't declare holy war? You declare the holy war to get the domain.
Well, haven't you heard of other wars? Getting claims through marriage, fabrication,
Yeah, there you go.
using all the new way of life techniques to get claims.
Oh yeah, I heard of them. Holy war.
yeah. They're just not as satisfying, that's all. But no, I would like to play like kind of the like pacifist fortress mountain Buddhist kingdom that just is like focused on enlightenment and building up our lands. I did that in CK2 as one of the Tibetan rulers in 769, and it was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it's nice, especially with the
That'll
Silk
be-
mechanics.
That'll be a lot more fun with the new terrain in CK3, where you have actual choke points and stuff in
Right.
mountains, and
It'll be
the
a lot
more-
easier to defend those areas.
Yeah.
And see just how tall you can grow.
Yeah, I did a similar thing in Bavaria one time where I basically tried to make a dynasty of super geniuses, and I just focused on almost like inward perfection in Stellaris, where I just tried to make my little mountain fiefdom like this hub of enlightenment and learning, and everybody in my dynasty had like 23 learning or something like that, and they were all part of the Hermetic Society. And just technology radiated out from the Bavarian Alps to the rest of the world. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I did a run on Corsica and Sardinia where
Oh,
'cause
there
there's
you
the-
go.
There's the Dwarf Fortress achievement. And I was like, well,
Oh,
we're going to
yeah.
achieve that, but we can't just invite dwarves into the island or kidnap them or anything. They had to marry into the family, and then we had to try and breed our entire family into being dwarves.
In a mountain hold, I like that. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, we've got human sacrifice as a doctrine, which they've confirmed the Norse will start with, which is historically accurate.
Brilliant.
And you can make cannibalism a virtue, which we all know is the
Yeah.
right way to go in CK2. So
We're
it
just
should-
gonna have just all of these incest cannibal dynasties. It's gonna be great.
Well, I mean, if you're not doing the rich, I mean, so you could do the sex cults, or you could just go for the divine marriage with ritual cannibalism.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to be a heathen to have a sex cult. There was that banquet of chestnuts. I don't know if you've heard of this. Do you know about this?
Yes, that's
So
by the
bad.
Borgias. It's said to be a semi-myth. It's not 100% confirmed, though, but...
The Borgias were basically a sex cult, though. Let's be honest. Like
You
maybe
either
not
eat people
officially,
or eat
but
them out. Why not both?
Was it
Do the latter,
dyslexia?
and then when you get hungry, have a nibble as well.
Oh my god.
God.
if they're part of our family, then that's option A. If they're not part of our family, then they're food. That's how it
Wonder if-
works.
Either way,
I
you're
wonder if
inviting
there's
them around for
complicated.
dinner.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You can either come to dinner or you can be dinner. The choice is yours.
Did you
This
guys ever
little vassal of mine.
have that happen to a character of yours in CK2? Mine went to a party, and the next thing I hear is bubbling and ripping and tearing, and then, oh, you're dead.
I don't think I've never been on the receiving end. I've only
That was, I did a Byzantium playthrough where I started in like 1241, or maybe it was that. I think it was 1241 to try and rebuild Byzantium back to its imperialistic borders.
Perfect campaign.
Lots of fun. But one of my rulers died because his noble was hungry.
Yeah, that's what you get for being tasty, I guess.
Generally, when I go to parties, I just get puked on.
Yeah, uh-huh.
That happens so often.
Well, if you ask anyone who's been to PDXCon with me, it's usually the other way around. But I don't think I've ever been puked on I've ever puked on anyone, in my defense.
Oh my god. I remember I got a very unrelated story. I once went over a friend's house. I didn't know this friend very well, and we had a big party, and I got very, very drunk. So drunk that I couldn't remember most of the stuff that happened in the night. And I woke up in the morning and still quite drunk, and walked through the kitchen. It was like, there's curry everywhere. Why is there curry everywhere? I walked down the corridor, there's curry up the stairs, and then I looked at his shoes, and I found out there was lots of curry in his shoes, and it suddenly dawned on me that I'd thrown up all over his house. Anyway, and then I left rather quickly, and you know what? I've never talked to that person ever again.
That's the best. That's for the best. Just,
that's the last time I ever spoke to that person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
moving on from the curry incident.
I'm just saying,
turn this into a segue.
Well, so CK3 is letting you reform your religion. EU4 is giving us some new ways to interact with the reform government system, where you're not just going to sit around with max reform progress for the entire second half of the game anymore, because they've included a new way to spend that by expanding your administration, which increases your governing capacity, so reform progress doesn't become completely useless once you've kind of locked in the government you want, which is pretty cool.
They've also changed it, so changing your government along the same tier doesn't give you corruption anymore. It just takes away some of your reform progress, which honestly makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, like the idea that trying to reform the system would make you more corrupt never made a lot of sense.
Like, it felt like maybe a stability loss would be more viable or more realistic for that one.
Yeah, I mean, corruption is like something where it's like, I'm really looking forward for them to get it right in EU5, because it was kind of a late addition to EU4, and I feel like it doesn't really do what it says it represents.
No,
and it's kind of weird.
I've only played to the end game once in EU4, and that was, well, the video for that one up today in our Venetian Succession series. But the amounts of corruption you can get towards the end, we were at what sometimes, Lambert, 900 something corruption, or 900 ducats, not 900 corruption, ducats, like 900 ducats spent to eliminate corruption.
Yeah.
It was...
But at the end game, that's kind of fine, weirdly enough. I mean, if you didn't have to spend on the corruption, it's a money sink, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah.
It is, yeah, essentially.
It's always been very strange to me that the way that you reduce corruption in politics is to pump money into politics. And I'm sorry, but that's not how it works.
You just give the corrupt politicians enough money that they don't want any more money. Which they got enough, they got around full now.
With the parliaments, and one of your choices to bribe a city so that they'll vote for what you want is to collect corruption. Okay.
So, honestly, corruption shouldn't be a bad thing in EU4 because, I mean, you are the country, and the way that you are able to do things that you want to do is by, corrupt governors that you give them a little bit of money. So you should pay money to increase corruption, and more corruption allows you to do more things.
Corruption hurts the people. It doesn't hurt me. I don't
exactly.
care. No, the way I RP wise justify it in my head is like the money that I'm paying to fight corruption is like all of the money that's like going under the table to different nobles and stuff because they're corrupt. And then when my corruption goes down, that stops happening. But that's me kind of like doing mental gymnastics to justify to myself why this game mechanic works the way that it does.
Yeah, I just think it's the opposite way that it should be.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm
going to pay you. I'm going to bribe you to be less corrupt. No.
Well, and then I say like, oh yeah, I'm excited for them to get it right in EU5, but EU4 has completely reinvented itself so many times that they probably could just completely redo the corruption system.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Very true.
We didn't talk about it last week, but Johan also had like a very small forum post about they're changing how expel minorities is going to work, where it doesn't remove that culture from the origin province anymore. It just reduces the development and gives that amount of development to the colonized province. Mm-hmm. So you can't like banish the Irish from the British Isles by sending them all to New England or whatever as easily anymore.
Lambert, we know how you feel about the Irish.
Just going on that, not talking about the example. That's going to change expel minorities into a mechanic that I use incredibly rarely into a mechanic that I use absolutely never.
Yeah.
Why would I want to increase the development of the colonies at the expense of my own development? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. Like, I guess the idea is going to be that it would make it cheaper to culture convert those provinces because they're lower development now. But then it's like you're also increasing the liberty desire in your subjects because
you're forcing people to leave their home against their wishes just because they're different.
Well, I don't care about that.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, that's why it's increasing the liberty desires, because you're forcing people to leave their homes.
Yeah, and you're also you're lowering your development and increasing your colonial nation's development, which is like a double whammy impact on their calculation of should we have a revolution. So yeah.
If you're planning on playing, if tag switching to the colony, yeah, okay, fair enough.
You go. Yeah,
it's a
great
very
for tag
specific
switchers.
example that.
Yeah,
no. I mean, why would I want to play a bloody colony?
Yeah,
I don't think you can play to form Dutch America and go west to east and conquer the whole.
Well, it seems like it's more of a flavor mechanic at this point than like a gameplay mechanic. And Johan even admitted if it wasn't a paid feature, he would have just taken it out of the game. So yeah, I doubt it'll be used that much anymore unless you have like a specific RP goal to do with it, which that by itself is fine. Like I'm fine having mechanics that just let you RP in a certain way. But
I mean, it's mostly the mana cost that made me not want to do it. I just never felt that it was worth the mana.
Yeah, mana is something that struggle with. Not struggle with, but you still have to manage it so closely the whole game. Like even towards the end game, you can get a lot of gold till where gold doesn't matter, manpower doesn't matter, sailors don't matter. But
the mana cost is being removed for expel minorities now.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like,
still,
mana
it's
cost for
reducing
anything.
my own development.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle to justify mana costs for anything because I don't like the mechanic at all. But that aside, just reducing my own development.
Oh,
if it had some form of religious minority mechanic, like say there were Puritans in England or something, or I can't think of a different example. Maybe Huguenots in France. That would make a bit more sense.
Well, and he even said in one of the replies on the forum that Johan said, I wrote a design change to development into POPs to simulate minorities, but it was way too big for an EU expansion when it comes to scope, so we decided not to do it. So, then he said the design got changed a bit, and then I used it in Imperator Rome. So the POP system in Imperator Rome is basically was what he was originally thinking for replacing development in EU4.
Oh, I would love that.
I wish he'd done it.
Yeah.
EU5 with pops. Looking forward to it.
Just put pops in everything. Just love pops.
Yeah,
I'm liking Chat's
it
idea
works so much
here.
better.
Of
Yeah.
I don't. We don't even need to mention it.
Expel
We
all
don't
the
even need
Irish to
go
America.
there.
Let them reform a
and let
nation
them
and
stay
then
there.
retake Ireland and expel the Anglo-Saxons from the Isles.
Yeah, that sounds like heresy, and you should be shot on sight.
Oh no, but you just get like a bunch of
Sassenach.
plastic paddies who are like really annoying, and they'll go to Ireland and they'll try and pretend to be Irish and annoy
See,
all the Irish people.
I told you that was a term.
If y'all want his opinion on the Irish in England, watch
You don't want it?
Lambert's last video of the Venetian Succession series.
Funnily enough, you don't want that opinion because it'll annoy you. It'll make you hate me.
Yeah. There's
And then
that
watch
classic
what
meme.
Spelvik does to it 2 episodes later.
Oh no!
There's
that is the most disliked video on my channel now.
There's a classic meme that's like a Native American guy who's like, "Oh, you don't like immigrants? Great. When are you going back to Europe?" And I saw another version of it that was like it was Llewellyn the Great, like the last king of Wales, who was like, "You don't like immigrants? Great. When are you going back to Germania?"
I mean, that's where the Celts came from originally as well, so they can
True.
fuck off.
Yeah. There's a beaker person like way back. It's
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, standing around Stonehenge, like,
you don't like coming over here. You're taking our beakers with your stone monuments. Get out of here.
I spent the last, I've been watching a couple videos that have been about humans arriving in Great Britain, or our predecessors. And it's actually interesting the number of times that humanity went to the islands and then an ice age happened and we got pushed back off of the islands. To the point where
I guess that
actually
makes sense, yeah.
Humanity first went there was it several 100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But for long periods of time there were no humans there until actually Doggerland appeared.
If you guys are
Really
interested in the anyone listening to this is interested in the cultural origins of and spread of the Celtic languages, if you have an Audible subscription, there's a really good course from the Great Courses about the Celts. I'll put a link in the episode description or something, but sort of like the modern theory on it, the most recent up-to-date scholarship on the Celts is that they've done genetic studies and it does not seem like they spread by invasion. It basically seems like they won a cultural victory in Civ. Like the Celtic language spread as a trade language and their material culture spread because it was useful. Yeah. So 2/3 of Europe became Celtic without there ever being a Celtic invasion of Europe.
They were very good at iron making.
Yeah,
the gold working, the big one, and also there's a lot of tin too. So there's lots of tin trade,
right?
Which tin was required for making bronze, and bronze was actually seen as very religious because it was so hard to make compared to iron.
Right.
Well, the Bronze Age sparked up in Anatolia. But there's no tin in Anatolia, so it had to have been via trade that tin came to Anatolia to make bronze in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Bill Wirtz made the joke that, at the start of the Bronze Age, nobody wanted to give away who their tin dealer was because they wanted to have a monopoly on it.
Was it Cyprus or Crete that had a huge tin mine?
No,
they did.
It was neither. It was Cyprus that had large deposits of copper. Like a lot of copper.
Okay. Yeah, they think a lot of the tin probably did come from Britain because that's one of the only places.
Cornwall specifically, Cornwall, huge old tin mines.
There's a big deposit in France as well.
Yeah,
but it didn't come in Anatolia.
Copper, there was a huge copper mine in northern Wales. I was just watching this video last night.
Dr. Vickel says a lot of it actually came from Afghanistan too.
Well, there's copper and gold in North Wales, which is one of the main reasons the Romans cared so much about North Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's rose gold up there. which
And there was also
the
copper
Romans
mines
really liked, because it was not just gold, it's fancy
well,
gold.
not mines, but they did mine copper in Southern Ireland. But as far as they could tell, they didn't actually make any tools there. They just mined the copper and sent it over to England.
Yeah.
So the English have been stealing stuff from the Irish for how many thousands of
trade
years?
is not trade may be theft in EU4, but it wasn't back then, and it
Yeah,
wasn't.
well, I think a similar thing happened in South America and possibly Central America, where like they knew about copper ironworking, but they mainly just used it for decorations. Like they did never really come up with the idea to use it for weapons and stuff.
Well, for
So, yeah.
copper and tin, they had to powder it and then melt it down. So they had to. So when they would mine copper when they only had stone, they would actually light like huge fires by the vein of copper to soften it. And then they'd go hack at it
wow.
with stone to get it out. And then they'd crush it into powder and then melt it and then crush the tin into powder and melt it.
Yeah, Hawken and Dr. Vickel in chat say it was the Inca and the Muisca that had copper working in the Americas. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I'm woefully ignorant of that part of the world, I have to say.
There is another. I feel like the great courses should be paying me by this point because I recommend their shit so much.
We need a referral link, I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's another one on Audible called Lost. I think it's called Lost Worlds of South America. That's a really good overview of like how crazy advanced some of those South American empires were when the Spanish showed up. Like the Spaniards were in awe of them. And then
If only they had horses
yeah,
and cows and sheep and goats.
well, the other funny thing they talk about in there is that the Aztecs figured out the wheel, and the Inca had domesticated the llama. And if those two inventions had ever met, they could have completely revolutionized both societies. But it was just so hard to trade from, across the isthmus. Am I saying that right? Of Panama. And then like all of the, harsh terrain and jungle and mountains and stuff, that there wasn't a lot of exchange going on.
The Inca, their civilization, their empire only lasted about 100 years, and then smallpox came in and wiped them out.
Yeah, that was
And at their
that was
time,
a big factor.
their empire was so long that if you took it and placed it horizontally, it would go from like New York to LA.
That's crazy.
Which we don't think about because we just, we think wide versus long, but that's how long and connected their empire was.
And they somehow maintained that with like foot couriers. Like there wasn't a faster way to get messages through the Andes.
It's more crazy because for almost all contiguous empires, they were almost always lengthways, like wide. They were almost never tall. That's another reason that Asia and Europe were like the birthplace of so many empires and not Africa, because Africa is very tall. It's not wide. It's all to do with like the climate being
Right.
very
Yeah.
the same going lengthways.
East to west.
Also, historiograph
Yeah.
saying Lambert with some Jared Diamond is in there. I will admit, I fully buy into guns, drums, and steel.
Here's the thing. There are issues. This isn't like a historiography podcast, so I won't go too deep down this rabbit's hole. There are some issues with Jared Diamond. I think he asked the wrong questions, but a lot of the conclusions he came to in trying to answer those wrong questions were not incorrect.
Did I say guns, drums, and steel?
Guns, drums, and
Yes,
steel.
you did.
Drums are the bedrocks of civilizations.
Guns, drums, and steel. I'm a big...
Who wrote it? There was
I-
a short story, a sci-fi story, where someone decided that the history of all warfare was based on drums, and so they kept traveling back in the past to when drums were invented all over the world and made sure they weren't invented by any means
never heard of
necessary.
that.
And when they got back to the modern day, there was no war.
Yeah, if there's
I've
no
never
drums
heard
of
of
war,
that.
there's no war, is there?
I don't even remember. It was my dad had this huge collection of sci-fi books and short stories and stuff. I don't remember what it was called, but
Well,
Yeah.
You know what that makes me
I know,
think
like,
of?
Our Bad History doesn't like Jared Diamond, if you want to.
Yeah, no.
Our Bad History is, like, one of my fantastic. Like,
Yeah,
one of my
no,
favorites
I
of
think
this, but
everybody
I'm not a
should.
historian, so.
I think everybody should read Guns, Germs, and Steel, but then you should also read the critiques of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's the short version. He was asking the wrong questions, but some of the conclusions he came to in asking those bad questions are actually useful for answering other better questions.
I mean, what first pointed me in that direction was the CGP Grey videos on it. What did he call them? I forget what the names of the videos are called, but they're like some of his most popular ones. But then I just read that, and it makes sense to me, I guess.
My favorite rebuke of Jared Diamond is that he, like, the whole premise of his book is, why didn't the Americans conquer Europe instead of the Europeans conquering the Americas? And the answer is, why would you want to do that?
Wow.
World conquest? What are you guys crazy?
Yeah, Lambert, it was the CGP Grey video about, I think, animals?
It was, the first one was called Americapox, the Mixing Plague, and then it was zebra versus horses, animal domestication.
That. Yes,
I didn't like that video too much because there are plenty of quote unquote Americapox. Syphilis is Americapox, and also like so the Americans had like. Sorry, I'm a biochemist, so I'm like a proper nerd out about me some things too. So, like for example, Tenochtitlan is a hive of plague. It was just a matter of some of the things were less viral, and some of the, for example, the European and Asiatic plagues like killed a lot faster. But for example, syphilis killed a lot more people than the smallpox ever did, just over a longer time period.
About plagues and what makes them so deadly is the ones that are really deadly weren't originally meant for humans. They transferred from animals to humans, as we're seeing in our current situation now.
Right.
And so and it was in Europe and Asia that they had a lot more animals that could be domesticated. Chickens, pigs, goats, horses, cows, ducks.
What'll give a cow a snotty nose will kill a human.
While in the Americas, they had llamas.
Yeah.
Which will spit on you.
Yes.
Now, here's a question I have. Do you guys think that...
That's all right. I'll drop it. I guess, though, because, like, where they still... It's also to do with what you eat. It's not so much to do with domestication. It's, eating lots of wild foods, which people did throughout the world, will be a good way of developing either a novel virus or a novel bacteria. And that will cause a plague. It's just a matter of coincidence, really. There's no hard and fast rule that America was not a huge place of plagues. It's just the plagues they developed were a lot less quick to kill than the ones that were in Eurasia.
It is coincidence, but you can increase the chance of that coincidence happening by having more cities with more animals in those cities. So there's just more chances for that to start.
Right. And population density too.
In Europe tended to live in the same room with their animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably get back to the Dev Diary.
Cows and the pigs, come on in.
So, here's a question. Yeah. Do you guys think that the Tianki could spread plagues to other life forms?
Nah, it's not in a vacuum.
Well, you never know, There's like tardigrades and stuff that can survive in the vacuum of space.
What's a Tianki?
So Stellaris, the Dev Diary this week was about changes coming to
no,
space.
I think we missed something important in EU4.
Okay. What did we miss?
Industrialization.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, we did.
How could you forget about one of the most important changes in the history of humanity so far?
Well, we kind of went off on an ultra tangent. And,
we did.
And we're also, we were talking about metallurgy too, and we failed to, turn that into a tangent too.
I was about to bring, the diamonds are made of carbon base, and we've got coal, which is carbon,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I stepped all over your segue. Yeah,
you did.
So it's a new
TJ,
institution.
just go back to the black hole. Just go back.
All right. All right. I'm firing
Laura's go back to sleep.
myself. I'm firing myself from the podcast. Yeah. So yeah, industrialization is a new institution that can spawn after 1750. It has more ways it can spawn after 1760. That kind of represents the Industrial Revolution. It's likely to spawn in places that have a furnace, or if you don't have the expansion, in places that have certain workshops.
It's cloth and iron manufactories.
Yeah.
Right. And the bonuses it gives you plus national tax modifier, plus national manpower modifier, and then it's I don't know. I'm wondering, at the point in the game when this shows up, is it gonna make that much of a difference?
Nope.
Like, by the time it ticks up to like the full 50% technology penalty, I feel like the game's almost over at that point.
It'll make a difference in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Whoever owns Britain is more than likely going to get it, which honestly makes sense. That's where it spawned in real life, after all.
Yep.
It's going to give them a big power boost to their money. Manpower at that point is generally going to be inconsequential. You've already got effectively infinite manpower. It's just going to be a big boost to multiplayer, I think. For single player at that point, who cares about manpower and money? You've already gone
but
for
like, but there's changes coming to mercenaries, so manpower in the late game might be a lot more valuable than it is currently.
That's fair. That is fair.
That's definitely true, because a lot of people put half their army as mercs by the end once they have a good income going in right now.
Not me. I delete them.
Yes, you delete them. And then the other people in Succession game go and remake them again.
Oh, fun times.
It's good. I wish they'd. Sorry, this is my Welshness coming out. I wish they'd diversify the coal too. So, or give like bonuses, because somebody's talking about Barua Estuary there too, and it's because Barua Estuary had lignite,
Right.
Which you wouldn't be able to do early industrialization, whereas the UK had large deposits of anthracite and bituminous coal, anthracite being the key one for early industrialization, which can't be found in many places. You can find it in Kentucky, South Wales, I think areas of Yorkshire, and little areas of Ireland, and Seattle. There's not many places with anthracite, but
I didn't know Seattle had anthracite.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I love that it's the Welshmen here instructing us on coal.
It's important.
I mean, I'm from
We're
Yorkshire, so I
we're
feel
falling
like
into
I should know.
stereotypes, y'all.
Well, there's bituminous coal, so steam coal is mainly in Yorkshire is stuff you use them for either steamships back in the day or steam power plants. But also you could coke it and use it for ironworking, making steel. But anthracite you didn't need to coke. It's such high carbon you can just use it as is to make pig iron.
This is
So-
the kind of in-depth content that you guys are watching for.
Exactly.
Talk about
So
everything
you-
but
you
Dev
four
Diaries
needs
this
to-
episode.
But basically, I want a production bonus on anthracite things and a negative on all the other ones.
Yeah, Groogy, one type of coal is not good enough. We need you to step
Yeah.
up your coal game here.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So,
All the coal.
Because
all the
like
time.
China's got that province that is historically really good at producing Chinaware, right? I think it gives like a +3 bonus, and I think also in the Nile estuary you get plus bonuses on your wheat, I believe.
What, in the game already?
Yeah.
I would have to go look. I don't have that memorized, unfortunately.
And I think India's got gems too, like plus production on the gems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Play
it's
and
cool.
play. Just want
I
it
don't
all.
know.
Yeah.
But gems. We had some gems of information in the Stellaris Dev Diary this week.
Yes, we do.
The Tianki? What's the Tianki?
I
Those
don't
are
like
the space
Tianki.
whales. These guys.
Can I just need to be honest. I really don't like the Tianki. I don't like the idea of like a biological organism that somehow naturally developed the ability to travel faster than light.
Yeah.
But it's a space opera.
It is. It is. I don't know. That just has always kind of bugged me a little bit. I would like it better if they were kind of like isolated to certain systems, but they're giving the Tianki a home system now, basically, where they can kind of spawn throughout the game. And we're getting some new galactic community resolutions where you can either vote to protect the Tianki or vote to exterminate them.
Yeah. And you can be whalers, which is fantastic.
Yeah, you can actually make it illegal to harbor space whales.
Yeah, but you can finally sing like the Futurama song about whaling on the moon, and it'll be like
I'm sorry, but for 1,000 gas for 2 cows and 1,000 gas for 4 calves, you damn right I'm going hunting. That's a lot.
So says the Englishman.
Well,
it's like the entire space economy is run on whale oil now.
I want to see now, since Lambert's saying that,
now.
I want to see him play a multiplayer game where they where everyone in the council votes to make it a conservation act.
cool. I will just
Leave
be
the
in breach of
council.
galactic law then. Can I just say
It's for research purposes. Like that's all.
scroll up just a little bit on above that to the picture there. Is that not down to the picture of the trinary system? Is that not absolutely stunningly beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
It
It's
is
gorgeous.
Stellaris is a very good looking game.
That's new though.
Yeah.
That's definitely new.
With the clouds. Yeah.
And the lightning as well. Like, it feels like they're looking at the real space mod and being like, oh, that's pretty. Maybe we should do a little bit more like that. Because that looks like something that I would find in the real space mod.
Yeah.
This one you see a bit of it too.
They also say that the space amoebas are going to be different. So the Tianki are just kind of like going to spawn and then just go wandering off. The space amoebas will wait until they have a certain number, and then they will leave in a big group to go colonize another system, which is kind of an interesting way to make them behave differently from the other space fauna.
Yeah, I agree. I hope they do more of this, like, artisanal style of star systems, because if you just litter the galaxy with beautiful ones, there's a few already, like the one that's just made up of all black holes. That looks beautiful, right? I mean, like, there's so many, but just loads of those. And they don't even have to be special, but just to look pretty and handcrafted.
My favorite is the one, I won't spoil it in case anybody hasn't seen it, but if you come upon a system that has a very large asteroid belt with just an absurd number of minerals, go ahead and get to mining that. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Just go for it.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to mine it ASAP. Grab it before anyone else does.
Yeah.
I've never done it. I've never done it.
Oh, I always thought,
this is... something's going on here. I got it done.
This is too good. This is too good. There's gotta be a catch here. Yeah.
Something going on. What people are finding with the Rubicator now is you're like, oh, that beautiful relic world. I'm going to colonize it. And then later when I'm tougher, I'll, finish the Rubicator and kill the queen lady. Well, she immediately kills your colony now.
Oh no!
I did that when I had early access, and I had only like 3 pops on it, and I went to speak to DJ, and I said, "Oh, it kills your people now," and he was like, "How many did you lose?" I was like, "Oh, there's only 3." He was like, "I lost 50."
Yes.
So my offline friend group started a multiplayer Stellaris game just last night. And I got the Rubricator event for the first time. I'd never seen it before. I didn't even know anything that it was about. And I haven't been able to progress because all of the clues were to my... If we were thinking of the galaxy as a map, they would be to my east. And I was like, okay, that's great. I found a planet to my east while I was trying to go get those clues. That was a shielded world. that had some reptiles on it, and you can probably guess how that went if you've ever seen that before.
Oh yes.
Because I was like, oh yeah, we'll let him out. This will be great. It'll be fine.
Don't let him out. Don't let him out.
So
They're
now
shielded
they
for a
hold all of
reason.
the rubricator clues, and yeah, I had to like militarize my entire economy very quickly. So, yeah. Yeah, anything else about the Stellaris Div Diary that stuck out to you guys? I mean, we kind of covered all of it.
But speaking
It's not
of
a lot.
militarizing,
No.
Yeah.
Stop segueing.
what? The segues are beautiful. Well, not the,
He
not the kind
asked-
people like
Wow.
ride around on in 2 wheels. Those are kind of weird.
I was just going to say that the fact that they say at the end of the diary, these are the first steps we're taking towards reinvigorating the galaxy. That's promising.
Yeah,
I'm
I hope
optimistic
they
about it.
do stuff with crystalline entities and stuff too.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
Oh,
gonna
I'm
come
sure
up.
they will.
Maybe Data's brother can go and do a whole Star Trek thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Is there a mod that renames them to crystalline entities? So, just Steve, that's a very small mod.
Not
I
one
don't
that I
know.
know of.
Damn.
But yeah, militarizing. We got an update to the Hearts of Iron 4 roadmap, which this is something that they've shared in the past. A lot of the stuff that was on the original roadmap has been crossed off by now. Like it's already done. The 2 new ones that they added to the bottom that we have not seen before, they want to improve the weather mechanics, and they want to improve the strategic and tactical AI, which I wonder if that has anything to do about me complaining about how it's impossible for the Axis to win unless you play as the Axis.
Yeah.
Last week. Yeah, what stuck out to you guys about this? We also got patch notes for 1.9.1, which I have not had a chance to read yet.
Well,
Weather mechanics seems sort of like a thing that you just like ignore. So the fact that they want to
Yeah,
improve it,
yeah.
probably a good thing.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But also, like, you don't really control it. You can't really control the weather. So, what would you do if something's different?
Yeah.
If it's raining, do you stop attacking, or if it's like it just seems like
guess-
something that happens and you have to just deal with it?
I'm sure you could
I
get
feel like-
gear. Like they have the night vision and stuff now.
Yeah. I feel like the way it works in Hearts of Iron 4 currently, it's something that I only really pay attention to it if I'm playing as like a smaller nation or like an expeditionary force where I can really put a lot of like fine detail focus on a small area. Otherwise, I just don't have time. Like, I don't have the attention span to be like, oh, we need to stop our advance in North Africa because there's a sandstorm. It's like, no, I've got 50 things to worry about right now, and that's just not one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
If you're a large nation with,
Yeah.
thousands of divisions, you're not going to care so much, but
Right.
you want to, or maybe even like your specialized forces like Marines or something, if you can take equipment to help them so you can, make your naval landings faster.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's the only naval invasions might be the only area where I might care about weather.
Or
'cause it's like,
paratroopers.
Yeah.
if it's no paratroopers, good point. It's like you don't want to land, you don't want to DTR on a storm, do you? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
It should give the defenders of those types of invasions a big boost. But other than that, yeah, weather happens, and then it stops happening, and
carry on, yeah.
Well, it could affect things like, invading Russia in the winter, maybe more because you get a blizzard that comes through.
Yeah. I do
And
think
that
like
might be a time to
invading,
tell your line to stop pressing.
I do think like winter effects should be a lot worse. I think supply lines should just really die when winter's happening and stuff like that. But it seems quite negligible at the moment. Do you find that? You can like invade Russia in the middle of winter and really it's not that much different from invading it in the middle of summer.
Yeah. Well,
I find.
they've gone for this kind of simulationist route where, yeah, it doesn't feel like an interesting decision that I can make at like an overarching, like supreme commander kind of level,
Mm-hmm.
about how I'm going to react to it. It's little pockets of inconvenience happening here and there.
Yeah.
They do talk
So,
about more focus trees here.
Yeah. I think, well, the Soviets are probably going to be the next ones. That's my bet, right? I mean, maybe
Yeah,
the big one.
Italy, the Soviets, and Poland are the three what they consider to be core nations that have not had a focus tree update yet. I agree that all three of those definitely need some work.
Apparently, they're not on this list.
I reckon they probably got to do maybe Bulgaria,
update
Turkey, Greece. And then
there's two different lists. Yeah, there's the list for more national focus trees, which they call out South America, Scandinavia, Turkey, Iran, and Greece. And then there's on deck for an update, which is Italy, the Soviets, and Poland. Yeah.
Well, what
Finland needs a focus tree.
Yeah, I think so. Actually,
I'd love a Finnish focus.
I know
tree,
you're a bit biased, Lambert, but like
Maybe
I agree.
just a little bit. I would say it needs one more than. I mean, Sweden was neutral, so they shouldn't have one. They can.
Well, they say Scandinavia. Remember I was saying last week about them doing like possibly content packs that would just be here's Scandinavia focus trees.
Yeah.
Finland isn't Scandinavia, according to the Finns.
Yeah,
according to every PDX game, though, it is.
Yeah, according to the Swedes, they are.
It's
right,
technically it's a Nordic country, but it is not on the Scandinavian peninsula. But then again, neither is Denmark, and Denmark is normally considered Scandinavia, so I don't know.
And Iceland.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, unlike for the Scandinavians, Finland put up a really good fight.
Yes, that's why it needs a focus tree.
Well, Denmark fell in a day, Norway fell in like a week, and Sweden fell in a phone call, didn't it? Like, essentially.
Yeah, Denmark, I think, has the record for the fastest surrender to the Nazis.
I think so, yeah.
I mean,
Norway actually held out a lot. Like Norway, the guerrilla fighters in Norway, or in like northern Norway, kept fighting longer, I think, than any country that eventually capitulated.
They also Norway had a lot of support too. Like, I don't want to diminish the Norwegians because they fair play.
If
to
you
them,
want to know what the Norwegians were like during the war, Historiograph has a great few videos on the Norwegian.
I think Historiograph is in chat, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Go check out those videos because they are amazing. They're in depth. They're wonderful little videos. Definitely.
No, he's actually left us. He's not in chat anymore.
Oh, well, he was in chat earlier.
Still go check him
out. Go. What? No, he's left chat. That's it. No, yeah, seriously, go watch them out because they're brilliant.
Here we do have what Paradox considers Scandinavian CK2.
Yeah.
Which is definitely not just the peninsula.
It includes like St. Petersburg. Yeah, they're Swedes. They have a very generous definition of Scandinavia.
My wife would find that heretical, but honestly, I think saying that the peninsula goes through the Gulf of Finland and then into the lakes, I think that makes more sense as a peninsula than going between Sweden and Finland, if I'm being honest. I personally would count Finland as part of Scandinavia, but my wife hates me when I say that, so I won't.
Well, I'm not sure if she said that Ireland was part of England or something.
It's probably the same thing as the Irish.
It's like saying you're part of being
British Isles.
It's
British Isles, same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. CGP Grey has a good video on that. On what's the British Isles, what's the UK, what's Great Britain.
Yeah.
He does.
Yes.
It's all to do with whether you consider the term British Isles to be political, as to whether you think that Ireland is a part of it or not.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So I think Great Britain is the big island, which oddly doesn't include.
It's just Britain, I think, is the main island.
Which doesn't include Anglesey and all the little islands of Scotland, interestingly enough. So all those people in Anglesey, not British.
Yeah, get wrecked.
Anything else about this Hearts of Iron Dev diary before we?
There's a few which I see, which are some ones I'm really looking forward to, which we're inching closer to now. Improving peace conferences, which really need work.
Please.
Because,
so I don't need to install the mod player-led peace conferences.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, like, it's just so anticlimactic. You fight the entire game, you play the entire game, and the peace conference comes up, which should be you win big gold endorphin boost, and it just turns out to be so miserable, these peace conferences, that you just go, why did I do all this for this rubbish?
To the point where it's quite
why
often,
have the Soviets taken Hunan? Why have they taken that?
why do they
more
want
it leads
it?
to is just painful.
Exactly, yeah.
The peace conferences lead to more war.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I try and fix the borders.
Basically, it's like a World War I peace conference.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting one for me is the differences between sub-ideologies, which would be fantastic, right? I want to see like Trotskyists and Stalinists. I want to see the difference between anarchists and monarchists. I want to see maybe constitutional monarchists versus republicans. All sorts of different, more variety like that. I just want all that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, anarchists do play very differently. They get cause on everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of
also,
anarchists,
like the difference between like the imperial. Oh, sorry.
French intervention in the Spanish Civil War. So now France, if fighting in the Civil War, will be at war with any new Spanish tag that spawns.
Oh,
that's nice.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Does make sense.
Like, no, our beef was with these guys. I don't know who you guys are, but you're fine. You're good.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah.
We wanted to fight for non-aligned fascists, not the phalangists, which are completely different. We're okay with phalangists. It's just Franco.
France from being able to join the Spanish Civil War on the anarchist side.
No gods, one king. Yeah.
Anarcho-monarchism strikes again.
Yeah.
Every man a king.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. No gods, every man a king.
So
it'll probably.
Apparently, Portuguese China was moving their capital and making the achievement "Go ahead, Macau, my day" impossible.
What is that achievement?
It's if you set up a puppet state in Macau and then, as Portugal, and then invade China and make Macau into the new actual government of China.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. Basically a world conquest as minor Portugal, says Mr. Demento on the forums.
Essentially.
I've never attempted that, and I don't know if I ever will. But I'm glad that they made it not impossible.
Oh, France now has 20 tanks unlocked.
As they
that makes
should.
sense.
France started the war with the best tanks.
Yeah.
They had a problem though that they were only the turrets on their tanks only had space for one person, so he had to do the loading and the aiming, and that was pretty bad. In hindsight. But when the French capitulated to the Germans, a lot of the French tanks were actually used. So,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I know
so
that
Dr.
from playing.
Vickel also agrees with me.
I know that from playing Steel Division. Yeah.
Tech stealing
Soviet
can now
NKVD
unlock
gives you
techs.
stuff.
I know it from Lindy Beige, which is my favorite channel on YouTube.
Oh man!
yeah.
When he's talking about biology, though, he doesn't know shit.
I agree with that.
Like, oh my god! But you know what? Like, seeded doubt in my mind. I'm not much of a historian, but I'm a biochemist. So, like, I watched that, and it was like, well, you're just wrong on every front about this. Like, and now I doubt his history because I'm not a historian. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sure his dancing's very good.
1.9.1 Husky full patch notes. That's the update since last week. So yeah, that is the older patch notes that I was showing on here. But I don't think we really looked at them last week, did we?
No, we haven't really talked about them. So yeah,
we were a little distracted by all that great news last week. That new dev diary we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, we were also very distracted by the fact that it's harvesting season. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of, how is your harvesting going?
I'm a horse nomad now. Because Ragnvald is the dumbest motherfucker to ever live, so I basically abandoned Sturgia and went to the steppe and found myself out on the open plains.
Yeah.
And I just use horse archers now.
I tell you what, like it needs a few balance changes because the snowballing is crazy. Like I wanted to play as for Khajiits, and I got to rank 2 finally to be able to join a faction, and by that point the Khajiits were dead, and now I'm fighting a guerrilla
they own
campaign.
Half the map in my game.
I saw
they've
the
been
Romans.
very good at updating it though. Like I said, they've just released 0.8 or something. 8 patches in a week is pretty damn good.
This one was released an hour ago, 1.0.8.
Yeah. They've been very good at updating.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And a lot of the big ones are crashes.
Right. I've only had one crash so far. The only time I've seen consistently crashing the game is if I join somebody else preparing a siege camp and then they leave and I take over the siege camp and then I try to launch the siege, crashes every time. If I leave, come back, start a new siege, it's fine.
My game seems to crash when like I lose a battle, or say if I do something bad. It weirdly crashes then for some strange reason. I don't know why.
This is nice. They fixed a bug where ending your mercenary contract with the kingdom results in a loss of relationship with the lords of the kingdom. I had that happen. I joined.
Oh yeah.
Who was it? I don't remember who it was, but they were down to like one city and one castle. I joined them as a mercenary just so I had more people to attack for a while, so I could get some more stuff, and then I planned to desert them because they were at war with 2 sides. They were not doing well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what Ragnvald did in my game. Is like, we're not at war with everybody. I'm just gonna declare war on Britannia for no reason, while we're already fighting a war in the east, and all of our armies are over here. And I was like, dude, just good luck. Like, have fun. I'm out of here.
The Battle of Pendraic conversation line will no longer close the whole conversation anymore.
Oh, yeah. I hate that.
I haven't managed to do it yet. I'm at 7 out of 10. I'm like, if I see him on the map, I'll talk to him, but I'm not looking for you, man. It's a big world.
I finally finished it because I found out it's the only way that you can found a new kingdom is by finishing that quest line.
Really?
So
Really?
I finally did it, yeah.
So you can't just, as an independent, attack a castle?
Maybe?
Because that's how you did it in Warband. Or it's like how I did it in
They
Warband.
changed this quest.
I think you can okay, so your clan can own a castle and you can be independent, but if you have not finished the Bannerlord quest line, you aren't actually a kingdom. Like, you don't have access to the kingdom mechanics.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start doing that again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's like you said, the world's too big for you to do it.
After you do that, you get the bandits. You have to go into these bandit camps to get stuff. Which is so annoying because you still can't pick who you want to come with you.
I know. Yeah, it's
in the bandit raid.
Let me just bring some bloody recruits instead of my bloody Huskars with their big ass shields.
Horse archers. I had raiders, that I'd spent lots of money to trade up. I moved them all the way down the list. And I had some nice, good, strong infantry and archer guys to come in with me. No, one of my highly skilled horse archers came in on foot to fight.
Yeah, and they don't even use their bows. They go in and they run into an attack with a dagger.
But dismount for a start and then go in with their daggers. I only have horse archers. So
I lost 3 top tier horse archers doing that quest just because they're
I just never do them.
And the thing is, unless you have a castle or something to go stick your guys in.
Yeah.
Which, that's one way you could get around it, is if you had a castle or something, you go stick your people in there and just only take people that are good at fighting on foot with you to the bandit camp.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I did think of that.
Another thing right here was fixed a bug that caused prisoners to smile.
I saw some pictures of that on Reddit. It looks so dumb.
Really?
The other thing is they seem to have fixed the bug where everyone's retainers, anytime you're talking to a noble, the random people standing behind them in 1.0 just looked like super out of their mind fucking high. And they seem to have fixed that. Like, it's like, I don't know where I am. Like, that's what their old facial expression
I wish they added a way where you can edit both your appearance and the name of your companions, because you pick up these people in the, like, generic people in the taverns. It's like, you know, Jimmy the Waffle or whatever. You know, it's like, I don't want him to be called that. I want to have some cool name, and I want him to look badass. But here he is, Jimmy the Waffle. He's got eyes, like, you know, on the side of his head. He's got, like, you know, lips on his nose, you know. I just don't want him to look like that or have that name. Allow me to edit the companions. That's what I want.
Put a bloody helmet on him that covers his face, and all of your issues will be gone.
Yeah, just get one of those Eastern helmets that has like the full face mask on it.
Oh my God.
Speaking of helmets, they updated the game, and one of my incredibly cheaply bought helmets ended up being worth like 47,000 dinars, and it was like 47 health. I'm like, do I sell this because they're gonna patch this, or do I keep it because it's a bloody good helmet now?
I would like to show this character that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I kind of understand for balancing reasons why they did that, but I still think it's weird that there's like a set of armor I can buy that costs like the same amount as it would cost to pay 100 troops salary for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And all it takes is 100 gold to upgrade that troop to using that armor.
Yeah. Like, I found a suit of armor that cost, like, 120,000 gold, and I was like, what? Does this make me immortal? Why would I pay that?
Let me find my sexy piece of armor.
Some balance issues still going on.
Yeah, the balance is kind of all over the place.
I remember if I had a crossbow, and they're famously ridiculously expensive, and just they managed to sell that for £8 billion, you know? Like,
I've been running around. I haven't played in a few days because streams with other stuff and baby and whatnot, but I picked up a long glaive, which was like 1,000 something, and while on horseback, swinging it does about 100 to 200 damage.
Oh yeah,
putting it in a couch lance does like 500 to 600 damage. And it's
I quite like my sturgeon _fortified _ armor spelled wrong. It's the best armor I've ever seen. 50 body armor, 18 leg armor, and 18 arm armor. I bought it for 1,500 dinars. It's now worth 176 after a patch. So that's great.
Yeah, I think I'll wait for like a few more patches. Oh, it's gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
It's just a gambison.
Serious armor. Yeah. Yeah, that was like blessed by the gods or something.
I mean, and I bought it for so cheap.
Also, Lambert, I wear most of the armor. How do you have an empty weapon slot?
I dragged the weapon off it. I mean,
I only carry 3 weapons because I
don't like scrolling through them.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I have other weapons in my inventory, but I kind of like. And it also increases your encumbrance, so I pretty much just bring what I need. So.
Well, I just bring a bow and arrow, and then I've just got like basically 8 million quivers strapped onto me, you know, like I'm just quiver boy on his horse, you know, walking around.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see the need for another. That's an old picture now. At the moment, I'm running around with the same axe, a better shield, a better lance that can couch, and a one-handed axe. But I do want a good bow, except bows cost ridiculous amounts of money.
They do, yeah. It's worth the investment, though, because
bad.
You get a good one.
It's like
just
50 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Just go here's the thing. Go dump all of your infantry off somewhere. Go out to the Far East and just chase down steppe bandits. Like, you need to be pretty fast to catch them. But they drop really, really good bows, and really good horses.
It's a great way of making money too. That.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
So they won't drop as many horses now.
Yeah, they've nerfed it from the ridiculous where they would drop like 6 war horses from 12 bandits before.
And also, like, if you set up businesses, money quickly stops being a concern too. Like,
yeah.
I just set up my first caravan I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is going to not make a profit for a little while. I better sell something real quick.
Yeah. Oh no, like the enterprises that you do are better investments than my.
I just watched Spiffing Brit's video on that and was like, okay, well, next time I play, know what I'm doing.
I'll check that out. I haven't seen that one.
Well, he broke the game. It's
it's
sort
given.
of what he does.
It's he's very good at that. I got to give it a few more patches before I jump in it. Plus, I need a computer upgrade because my computer can barely run this, to be honest.
Yeah,
and also,
I've got
there seems to be like a memory leak. Are you having this problem, or is it just seems to be me?
It was fixed in the most recent patch. I was having really bad memory leak issues until yesterday's patch, and now I haven't seen any so far. So.
That's good.
I'd like to do a point out here. If you are running around in the city, and you know how large the cities are and how slow you are, there's just horses lying around. You can mount any of them and reuse them to run around the city.
Really?
Oh,
I don't know that.
Oh,
You can also stab chickens. No reason.
You can't pet the dogs, though, which is a huge disappointment.
I know. Like, I'm
That's
working on the review right now, and
it's
it's probably going to be a 1 out of 10 just because you can't pet the dogs.
yeah.
Oh, imagine if you could have war dogs with you.
Oh,
Following your
Awesome.
horse, jumping on people before they throw their bloody sticks at you.
Especially the Botanians. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have warhounds. Yeah.
Flaming pigs. Bring back all the old Total War classics.
Exactly. All the ridiculous units from like Rome 1 and Medieval 2.
Yeah,
So basically, I want a mangonel that throws beehives.
Here's what I want. Here's what I want. I want to be able to create a hollow iron ball that I can get inside of, and then they fire me over the wall to attack from inside the city.
That Bollywood clip where the dudes like get into this little circle and then get fired and then just go over the walls like that. Oh, Bollywood has some bangers like that. It's
that would be
it's
amazing.
beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to remake Pendor. Almost certainly, and I am certainly going to be playing it because that was the best Warband mod without any shadow of a doubt.
Oh no, Warsword Conquest for me, the Warhammer one.
But Pendor was so much more
like Pendor
polished.
Brittenwalda. I'm a Brittenwalda
I just did the
fan,
quality of life
Brit-
mods for Warband that you pretty much couldn't play without.
Yeah.
Well, Pendor included diplomacy in it, which is why it was so good as well. But the Brittenwalder team made Viking Conquest as well. And the thing is, I'd rather play Brittenwalder because it was way better than Viking Conquest.
Yeah, I agree with that
Viking
one.
Conquest got really stale. I liked it at first, but like the amount of grinding you had to do to get anywhere in Brittenwalder was like, the Viking Age, when Vikings would sail around the British Isles for 7 years, raiding the same monasteries until they had enough money to buy a castle.
Yeah.
Oh, here we are at Lindisfarne again. All right.
Yeah. Have you guys replenished your supply of butter yet? Okay, good. We're taking that. All right, we'll see you
shipments
again
next week.
year. Yeah,
Worst part about Bannerlord, butter doesn't have a nice icon. It just looks like cheese.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's just
I bet
not
if you
good
go
enough.
if you go on the Steam Workshop right now, there is probably a mod that replaces the icon for butter.
I
mean, it's an instant download. Oh, there's actually another update.
Oh.
Oh, that was
Right,
the point eight that just came out like an hour ago, I said.
No, I already got that one.
Oh.
Oh.
I think they may have done it, or maybe they've just fixed 1.0.9.
Yeah.
There's
maybe
nothing on the news
regular.
here. I just refreshed it. There's no 0.9.
Okay.
Still, fair play to them updating it so often.
Well, I've got to hop on another call shortly, so we should probably wrap it up. But before we go, Rose, what have you been up to, and where can people find your stuff?
Here on Twitch. Going to be playing more Bannerlord. I was
Awesome.
playing some CK2 yesterday, which was the lady that would not die.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we just
Yeah.
finished the Succession series over on YouTube with Lambert.
How did that end up?
Badly, Britain was green.
It was a pukey, ugly green.
It wasn't red, therefore bad.
See, I just had a problem
man.
with the shade of green.
Well, you should have just left it red. Damn it, Zlevik.
So, other than the Succession game, what have you been up to, Lambert? Where can people find your stuff?
I've been doing a Stellaris roleplay multiplayer, which has been going really well. People are role-playing their nations instead of, going for the super meta strats, which really improves the game so much if you roleplay it. So I've been really enjoying that. I've been playing Imperator, been playing Mount Blade Bannerlord, and I think it was either yesterday or the day before I released a video on Imperator about why I think megacities are bad and how to fix them.
Oh yeah, I watched that. It was a good video, actually. It's very good.
It's quite controversial because there's some people that really quite like it, and I understand why, but at the same time, still don't think... finishing a game with 10,000 pops in Acrogas is incredibly ahistorical, so I just tried to think of just ways that could be mitigated somewhat.
Just go back to the Rome 2 model, where just the more population you have in one place, the greater the chance that there will be a plague. And then,
it's literally one of my suggestions.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, having
plagues and fires.
Yeah, I agree.
Loris, what have you been up to, and where can people see your stuff?
Well, I'll be catching up on some private commissions, and I hope to be coming back to Public Comics, hopefully maybe next week or week after. So keep an eye out on Twitter and my website and Reddit, Paradox Plaza, or whatever I'm going to make the comic of. But more importantly, I got a 3-star rating on Animal Crossing, and now I've been terraforming my town, making it look very pretty.
Oh, so that's why you're not in the Bannerlord wagon. You're in the Animal Crossing world.
Leave it to the NoCB crew to take a low-key game called Animal Crossing and introduce the concept of terraforming.
Can you paint the map in Animal Crossing?
I have painted a lot of a map, actually. Yeah, you can put tiles on the floor, and I've done a lot of that.
All I need. I'm now sold.
I invited Isabel to my plot to assassinate Tom Nook so I can take over his business empire, and So, yeah.
How many times did you restart your game before you got nice-looking villagers? I heard that was an issue.
No, I restarted my game until I got the fruit I wanted for a long time.
Because that's all I really know about Animal Crossing is pears suck and people look ugly unless you restart your game.
And there's something about turnips and turnip prices.
Oh yeah, I've properly done some stockbrokering on the turnips at the moment. I've turned into an investment banker on Animal Crossing now. I've got charts and everything.
As always, I am AsaTJ. That's ASATJ on Twitter. That's the best place to follow me to find all of my different stuff spread scattershot across the internet. We did start a new friendly, friends and family Stellaris multiplayer type thing last night, where I'm playing as Voidborn megacorp of basically space pirates.
Oh.
And that was going well until I unleashed the Prakikati on the galaxy. So yeah,
fun times.
So I'll probably be bringing some updates to that, because I think we're going to try to make it a weekly thing. My review of Bannerlord should be going up later this week, probably the day you're listening to this, if you listen to it the day you come out or shortly after. And as always, you can follow us everywhere, NoCBcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Twitter, Twitch, all those places.
And what about YouTube?
Yes, what about YouTube?
I have it. I have a reminder on my phone to get the freaking episodes up on YouTube. It's not going to be the full video version, but it will be the podcast with the splash screen to at least get them up there. So,
well, if people want to watch it with us showing the dev diaries, if you come here to go to Twitch and you go to highlights, I have been saving them as highlights since I took over hosting the actual physical part of the stream.
Yeah. So that'll be an incentive for you guys to watch live and to check out the highlights on Twitch. So that's probably what we'll do for the future episodes, is just re-upping the VODs, but the ones
that won't start until episode 13.
Yeah, the ones that have already been cleared out by Twitch, it'll just be the audio with a splash screen on them. But we'll see you guys back here same time next week.
Ta-ra.
See you later.
Bye, guys.